Good day, everybody. It is currently the 14th of November 2012, and Rob here with today's Western Pacific weather update. We are watching a few areas here. First in the tropics, we're going to get into our tropical depression moving off towards Vietnam, but also want to quickly mention a tropical wave over Palau that's pushing off there towards the west. We did have a low pressure area according to Pagasa over Visayas today. That has since been disorganized and just basically fell apart here. Then the northeast monsoon kicking up some high waves across East and South China Sea here. That's also going to be playing a role into our tropical depression. And then look off here towards the north. We have that cold air coming across the Yellow Sea and the Sea of Japan. That's actually bringing some sea effect snow in some areas here. Even frost advisories are actually being issued down there in Kyushu due to that cold air coming in. And then there's this potent low pressure area over northern China. It's brought about some 35 centimeters of snow in the past several days. There's a few areas out here, absolutely devastating amount of snowfall. Now the storm system is moving into Japan, Hokkaido, and northern Honshu. Be having to watch this one because it is going to be bringing a mess of weather. But let's first talk about a tropical depression, which at this time there's several reasons why we are calling it a tropical depression. We have a defined center of circulation, at least according to the ASCAT imagery, showing upwards of 30 to nearly 35 knots. 35 knots would be actually a tropical storm, but it is still very disorganized. But you can see that cyclonic circulation here, and this is really taking the waves out over the open water and measuring their direction, and basically the satellites reflecting that back up and giving us this rough estimate of what's going on out here. So we do have that cyclonic circulation being indicated by the satellite, but also the other and more important reason why we are calling this a tropical depression is because the official WMO agency out here in the Western Pacific for warning on tropical systems is JMA, and they actually have 1006 HPA, tropical depression, here on their weather map. Now, on the tropical cyclone information page, they actually do not have this on there yet, but they are labeling it a TD at the very least on their weather map. 1006 HPA. This is actually down 2 HPA from the 0Z update earlier on this morning. So that's this one. And also, Vietnam is currently calling this area a tropical depression as well, with winds of 46 kilometers an hour. Expected actually to intensify here going into tomorrow, or later on today, that is, up to 56 kilometers per hour. So they do expect some strengthening out of it. But as for me, let's get into my thoughts. At this time, I do think remaining a tropical depression is very likely, but making it up to a tropical storm intensity at this time does not seem very likely. We also talking about the amount of moisture available here. Now, there is plenty of sea surface temperatures well above the 79-degree threshold that's in Fahrenheit that you need for development. Look at how unorganized this system is. Very lax in the amount of organized convection here. Plus moisture around the area, we're talking about that lapse rate, really not evident. We do have some equatorial inflow coming in here, a few storms out of the west, but overall there's not a lot of inflow going into the storm system, and that reflects on the JMA analysis in the upper air here. Now, JMA does have some moisture. That's what's being indicated on these dots around the area at 850 HPA. But with that said, let's scroll up here and look at the 700 HPA heights for today, and there's nothing here. We have the moisture farther towards the north, but as far as the South China Sea, it's laxing in the amount of significant moisture into the upper levels. So that is another reason why I do think that it's a very shallow storm system at this time, and it still needs to really get this act together, and at this time it doesn't look like it's really going to have that much time to do so. For a few reasons, one being the amount of vertical wind shear over the area is quite impressive, and then we were talking about that northeast monsoon coming in across this area. Well, that's causing some vertical wind shear towards the north, up to about 30 to 40 knots along the northern periphery, and then in here from the west upwards of 30 towards the south. So that's a very hostile environment for significant organization. We do have the positive vorticity around it, and thus we are seeing those pop-up thunderstorms, and that is really going to be the main threat at this time. It's just those big bulks of convection moving towards the west. I do think this is going to be a significant rain event for southern Vietnam, even off towards portions of Da Nang. You might be seeing some heavy rainfall, and definitely into Cambodia, and very likely into the Bangkok area there in Thailand. We're talking about that sea surface temperatures out here. What you need here is into those darker oranges for development. That's way off here towards the north for tropical development. Remember, this is the Western Pacific. We still have quite warm sea surface temperatures in the air. And then the other main factor for the lack of time for development here is that this is going to be starting to interact with Vietnam's coast here into the next 24 hours. Talking about Wednesday evening going into Thursday, possibly moving onshore. This is according to the COAMPS, a high resolution model. It really depends on this model in the short term because it usually is fairly decent. Now, one thing, we have that center of circulation down here towards the south, and I was talking about that moisture inflow as far north as Da Nang. Well, you see the circulation here, but we have that cyclonic organization coming around the storm. That's going to pull moisture in out of this the South China Sea and onshore here on Vietnam. So not just towards the south, you're going to see the rain showers, but even farther towards the north. And then eventually this will move over towards Cambodia, and also we're talking about Thailand likely getting in on this going into Friday and possibly Saturday. Upwards of nearly 100 millimeters an hour could occur in some of these stronger storms. Gusts near the shorelines definitely could be up there near tropical storm strength, and not to mention just the continuous amount of rain really is going to be bringing the threat of some flash flooding out across much of the Indochina Peninsula. So definitely want to watch this storm system very closely into the coming days as far as its organization and what we're going to be expecting out of it. Now, farther towards the east, though, we were talking about that area of convection over Palau at this time. It doesn't really look like it's going to organize, but still might bring some heavy rain showers on Thursday going into Friday in Mindanao and Visayas. And then farther towards the north, I was talking about across Japan. We have that 540 line. That's dipping down, bringing some of those snow showers and rain. But as far as China, good for you. Sunny skies really prevailing. Unfortunately, temperatures are rather chilly across much of the region there. But that is all for right now, everybody. Thanks again for watching here at Western Pacific Weather. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please post them in the comment box below. And as always, stay safe out there and have a great day. Bye.